Have you ever wondered if it's truly possible to find some genuine peace, even when life feels like it's falling apart? It's a question we've all asked, right? This search for a calm that nothing can shake? Well, today we're going to dig into a really profound answer that comes from some ancient Buddhist teachings. How do we find this inner peace? Let's see what the Buddha had to say about it.
So our story starts with this man, an elderly guy named Nakulapita. He goes to the Buddha with a problem that is, frankly, going to be every single one of us someday. His body is failing. He's old, he's sick, he's in pain, and he's basically asking, how can I find a happiness that doesn't depend on my physical health? It's such a real and raw question. And this isn't just some story from 2,500 years ago. Nakulapita's fear is universal, isn't it? I mean, how are we supposed to cope when our own bodies, the one thing we rely on for everything, start to break down and cause us pain? What's left to hold on to when our physical strength is gone?
Now, this is where it gets really interesting. The Buddha's response, it isn't some magic pill or a false promise that everything will be okay physically. Instead, he gives him a training, a kind of mental prescription that at first sounds almost impossible. He says, train yourself like this. Though my body is sick, my mind shall not be sick. Whoa, what a radical idea, to create a separation between our physical pain and our mental state. A sick body, but not a sick mind. Just let that sink in for a second. This one little piece of advice is the key to everything we're going to talk about today. It suggests there's a kind of freedom we might not have even thought was possible. The freedom to be mentally and emotionally okay, even when we're in physical pain. The real question is, how do we actually do that?
Right, so let's get real. How on earth is this possible? When you have a splitting headache or your back is killing you, it feels like that pain is your entire world. Your mind is just completely swallowed by it. The two feel totally inseparable. So how can you possibly pull them apart? Well, the path to this kind of freedom starts with a really fundamental shift in how we see ourselves. It asks us to look super closely at our own experience and question what we even mean by I or me. The problem, as the Buddha explains it, isn't the pain itself. The problem is that we identify with the pain. So to help us get this, the Buddha broke down our whole human experience into 5 distinct components. You can think of them as the 5 building blocks that, when they're all bundled together, create this thing we call our self. Let's take a look at each one. First up, we have rupa, or form. This is the easy one, right? It's your physical body, your bones, your skin, your organs, all of that. But it's also all the physical stuff you perceive through your senses. The light hitting your eyes, the sound in your ears, the chair you're sitting on. It's all the material stuff of the world. Next is Vedana, which we translate as feeling or sensation. Now this is important. This isn't complex emotions like love or jealousy. Think of it as the raw, immediate data our body sends us. Is this sensation pleasant? Is it unpleasant? Or is it just neutral? It's that first gut reaction before your mind has even had time to think about it. Third, there's sanya, or perception. This is basically your mind's labeling department. When your senses pick something up, sanya is the part that recognizes it and slaps a label on it. It sees a color and says, that's blue. It feels a sharp sensation and says, that's pain. It's what organizes all the raw data into categories we can understand. All right, the fourth one is a biggie. It's called sankhara, or mental formations. This is, well, it's pretty much all the other activity in your mind. It's your thoughts, your intentions, your opinions, your biases, your moods, all the stories you tell yourself. It's the busy, churning, constantly constructing part of the mind. And finally, we have vijnana, or consciousness. Think of this as the fundamental awareness, the light that has to be on for any of this other stuff to even happen. Without consciousness, you wouldn't be aware of your body, your feelings, your perceptions, or your thoughts. It's the basic knowing that makes all experience possible. Okay, so we've got these 5 parts: form, feeling, perception, mental formations, and consciousness. Now here is the Buddha's absolute key insight. These 5 things are not the problem. They're just natural processes. Suffering only starts when we relate to them in a certain way, when we cling to them and believe that they are us. And this slide just lays it out so clearly. On the one hand, you have the sick mind. It looks at these 5 things and thinks, this body is me. This feeling is mine. These thoughts are who I am.
So, of course, when the body gets sick or a nice feeling goes away, the mind suffers because it feels like I am being attacked. But then look at the other side. The healthy mind sees these five things as just processes, impersonal, constantly changing. It experiences them without clinging, and because of that, it can stay at peace no matter what. So, the path to freedom, the way we actually train our mind not to be sick, is all about practicing letting go. It's about learning to just observe these five streams of experience, your body, your feelings, your thoughts, without grabbing onto them and calling them me or mine. The Buddha used this really brilliant analogy to explain it. He asked his followers, hey, if someone came into this forest and burned up all the grass and sticks and leaves, would you be worried or upset? And they were like, no, of course not. That stuff isn't ours. It isn't ourself. And that's when the Buddha delivered the punchline. Exactly. In the same way, your body, your feelings, your thoughts, they are not yours. Let them go. This leads us to one of the most powerful metaphors in this whole teaching, the metaphor of the burden. It just perfectly wraps up everything we've been talking about, what causes suffering and how to end it.
So first question, what is this heavy burden that we're all carrying around?
It's those five aggregates. Our body, feelings, perceptions, thoughts, and consciousness only become a heavy load when we cling to them, when we insist on identifying with them. Okay, so what is it that makes us pick up this burden in the first place? What's the force that makes us carry it?
One word, tanha, or in English, craving. It's that deep thirst, the thirst for pleasant things to last forever, for unpleasant things to just go away, for our bodies to always be healthy and young. This constant wanting and pushing away is what binds us to the burden.
And finally, the most important question of all, what does it actually mean to set the burden down? It's freedom, plain and simple. It's the complete ending of that craving. The moment we stop clinging, the burden just dissolves. You realize it was never really yours to carry in the first place. This beautiful quote just sums up the result perfectly. When we lay down that heavy burden with that craving rooted out, we become quenched and unbound. We find a kind of peace that doesn't depend on whether the body is sick or healthy, young or old. So, as we wrap this up, the question really isn't for some ancient sage. It's for you, right now. When you look at your own experience, your relationship with your body, with your feelings, with your thoughts, what burden are you carrying? And what might it feel like to finally set it down?